I now call the meeting for the VCPUSD School Board to order, and we do have a quorum. And we have a speaker, Amanda Wolford.
Good evening. Is this on? Okay. My name is Amanda Walford. So for those of you that don't know me, hello, Mr. Caputo, and hello, Mr. Kolb. I am a math teacher at the high school, but I am also the VCPEA president. I am intentionally here at 5 o'clock without an audience. Hopefully there's nobody online as an audience as well. I spent a lot of time thinking about how I want to address a concern, and I decided to come here tonight. I decided after spending many hours typing stuff up that I did not want to submit something formally. My hope is that my being here and my comments, while they will not be, no names will be given, that it will start or continue a conversation. And that's simply my hope. Board Policy 4000 states the board encourages all district employees to express their ideas, concerns, and proposals related to the improvement of working conditions and the total education program. Board Policy 4030 states unwelcome conduct, whether verbal, physical, or visual, that is so severe or pervasive as to adversely affect an employee's employment opportunities, or that has the purpose or effect of unreasonably interfering with the individual's work performance, creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Board Policy 4119.21, Professional Standards, states the governing board expects district employees to maintain the highest ethical standards, behave professionally, follow district policies and regulations, and abide by state and federal laws, and exercise good judgment when interacting with students and other members of the school community. Employees shall engage in conduct that enhances the integrity of the district, advances the goals of the district's educational programs, and contributes to a positive school climate. Community Relations Civility Board Policy 1313. I'm going to go really fast. This policy promotes mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct among district employees, parents, and the public. In the interest of presenting district employees as positive role models to the students of this district as well as the community, the Valley Center-Pauma Unified School District encourages positive communication and discourages volatile, hostile, or aggressive behavior. There are a number of other board policies. I just want to state that there is a concern about an environment at a school that is not positive, that has been hostile. And I didn't formally, I know I'm over, but I didn't formally write anything because I want you all to know it has been addressed. So I'm not up here to say that the district has not addressed it. It's just not improving. And so I would like the conversation to continue. Oh.
There are some seats in front. I know a lot of the students that came in late, you love sitting in the front row, so come on up. But there are seats. There we go. Volunteers. I love it.
Come on down.
Extra points tomorrow morning.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 more seats. And you can leave early. You get to leave early. Oh, not now.
Not yet, though.
Anybody else would like to take a seat up front? There's like 12 seats. Come on down. Or not. Is it 6 o'clock? I can't see.
You're good.
Okay. I would like to call the board meeting to order. It is 6 p.m. and we do have a quorum. We would like to say the Pledge of Allegiance, and we have the honor of having Jet Williams come up. And you can come up if everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And here's the flag.
Place your right hand over your heart, face the flag, ready begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Jet.
Very well done.
Very well done. There is nothing to report out of closed session, so we'll move into the approval of the agenda at this time.
Okay, Madam President, we do have one addition to the conference list for employees. Our district nurse will be attending the California Nurses Conference in February at a cost of $1,922, and that's paid through the Effective Educators Grant. So that's
Okay.
added on to the contract.
Added on to the contract. Okay, thank you. And do I have a motion?
Also move.
And a second?
I'll second.
And any discussion further? Okay, we'll call for the vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Cole? Aye. Member Polito? Aye. And Stroh votes aye. We will move now into our most exciting time of the board meeting, and that's the recognition and presentations. And we will have our Superintendent McCowan for the 2023 Employee of the Year, and that is Lauren Holt, and that's our classified, and Kimberly Williams, our certificated, and Superintendent McCowan.
So this is the one time a year that I get to come and be a presenter instead of sitting at the table, and it's an honor to do this. Our school district, every month, we have a school assigned that picks the month, their employee of the month. So the high school picked employees of the month, middle schools, and then also the district office picks non-school assigned employees as employees of the month. And then we take all those employees of the month and we bring them up to the cabinet, and then we pick the district's employee of the year from that group. So these two individuals have already been honored by their peers that they work side by side with, and now we as a district, we want to recognize the great work that they've done too. So we're going to start out. I'm going to bring Lauren up, and And I'll tell you, I didn't know Lauren as well when I wasn't superintendent. But as superintendent, she is one of the best people at my right-hand side because she's in charge of all of our kind of ordering and finding the stuff for us. So when we got in the middle of COVID, she put in just endless hours because all of a sudden we were purchasing things for our school district that we had never purchased before. And she was going out there investigating what is the product we need, what's the best product we can find, and not only that, but also getting us the best deals on it. And so, and she continues to do that today. When a teacher needs something, a lot of times they have, here's kind of what I want, but she goes out and really does the investigation into the best product that's going to serve our students the best, and then the best price we can get on it. So I really appreciate your work in that area with us. I also want to say, let you know what her direct supervisor had to say when she won the Employee of the Month award. Servant leadership is our focus this year. So it seems appropriate that we select an employee whose life and work exemplifies what it means to lead by serving others. Lauren is the epitome of service above self, prioritizing the needs of her family, her colleagues, and the students of this district before anything else, always with a humble and cheerful spirit. Lauren has a commitment to a lifelong learning and a willingness to take on new challenges without fear. Lauren is a good judgment of, well, I guess I will need these, a good judgment and intuition for employees of intuition, and her compassion for others helps her colleagues to feel valued and supported, which builds up the team and makes us smarter and more effective as a school district. And Lauren, that is why you were the Employee of the Year. You are a true servant leader. Thank you for your service. We are so blessed to have you as part of our team. We got a plaque for you. You've got one similar to this, but this one says, come on in, Julie.
Still really surprised and grateful and of course bashful, but Valley Center-Pauma Unified is very fortunate to have bunches of hard workers, and I'm just one of the many. I feel blessed to come to work every day and serve our students and teachers from the behind the scenes business office, yes. You know, I never knew that I would develop a passion for buying and bidding and contracts, but here I am, and I love what I do. I have to shout out to my fellow Employee of the Year and desk neighbor, Diane Faber, because every day we collaborate and we share ideas and we develop procedures, and she works her tail off. And I have grown so much because of her, and I love all my coworkers very dearly, and it's just a true pleasure, and I feel very blessed once again to be part of our VC team.
You know, kind of jokingly, I get to see every single thing that's purchased in the district. And between Diane and Lauren, I've always said these gals can spend money. So our next Employee of the Year is our certificated, our Teacher of the Year, and that's Kimberly Williams. Kimberly, come on up. Now, Kimberly was always introduced to me as the person that wears all hats at the elementary school, helps out with ed tech, and is just kind of that person that will go the extra mile to meet up with parents, etc. Well, not only did she wear many hats at the elementary school, this year we had a need for a ceramics teacher at the high school in the middle of the school, well, the very beginning of the school year, I guess it was. And lo and behold, our fourth grade teacher, third grade teacher at the elementary school taught ceramics. So the next thing I know, she puts on this different hat and she transfers up to the high school. And even though she's the Employee of the Month for the elementary school, she's now one of the stellar employees up here with our high school staff, and has really taken on, the students, from what I've heard and what they've had to say, they just love their new ceramics teacher. And it's just neat to see how many different things that you're talented enough to do. So thanks for helping us out by coming up to the high school. I also want to share what was put in where her Employee of the Month when she was named that. It says, when Ken was named the Certified Employee of the Month for the Valley Center Elementary School, Principal Bill Kvitley had this to say: in addition to being an outstanding third grade teacher, Kim wears many different hats. She is the ed tech representative working on all things technology and staff members. She keeps our websites updated, runs the tech club for the fifth grade students, creates the school yearbook, and runs the yearbook club, and is a member of our school social committee. Since that time, Kimberly has, and then this goes on to what I had just said, that since she's taken over from the elementary, she's come up to the high school, and we're just glad to see you in our district and working with our students at all different levels. And I think the next 5 or 10 years, as you see your third graders come through the high school, you're really going to enjoy that.
I have some of them already.
Yes. Oh, so they're like, Mrs. Kimberly's following us.
Yes.
Nice. So let's hear a big round of applause for Mrs. Kimberly. We'll take a picture in the record school.
Our wood department. Yeah, Mike, you know.
Oh, that's
Okay.
Oh, is it okay? Yeah. So, a little something. Okay. I don't know. Am I close enough? Okay. Sorry. Okay. When I found out I was being honored as Teacher of the Year, I couldn't believe it. In fact, I'm still shocked. What did I bring that we all haven't brought? The truth is, I stand up here representing all teachers, you and me. We are here for a reason. We are a team. I wasn't gonna cry. Gosh, I was like really planning for that. Okay. As I thought about what I would say, I had a million ideas running through my head. What can I say that hasn't already been said? I do what I do because now more than ever, kids need us. That's it, nothing clever. They need us for structure, they need us for health and well-being, and ultimately they need us to care. It doesn't matter their age, tall or small, they need us to fight for them all. So I fight for the students on the front line. I fight for the students who are yours and mine. These kids are the future. We need them to thrive. We need them happy, healthy, and alive. So I thank you, Valley Center, for the recognition. I love what I do, with or without the attention.
And we have one more very special presentation, but I'll turn that over to Julie, our board
Okay.
president, to start.
Okay, okay. And this is a very special presentation. It is from the Carlston Family Foundation, and this award presentation is, we've had one other teacher in our district receive this award, and that is our teacher, Mrs. Krista Reinick, and Drew Kordick is a recipient of it this year. We're very proud of him, and it's presented by Dr. Beverly Young, who is the director of the Carlston Family Foundation, and she will come up and give this award to Andrew, I knew him, Andrew Kordick, our fabulous teacher. Come on up, yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a little confusing. You can see up there it says Above and Beyond. We have been the Carlston Family Foundation for 20 plus years, and just this last year we changed our name to Above and Beyond, choosing that name because that's the term that is used in the description of almost every winner we've ever had, is a teacher who goes above and beyond for their students. Our organization selects the most outstanding California high school, public high school teachers that are based on the first criteria has to be a nomination from a former student who is either in college or has graduated from college. Once we get that nomination, we talk to that student. We then contact the school principal. We talk to other teachers at the school and school counselors, and we enlist all of their help in contacting additional former students, 6 to 8 former students. We talk to a lot of people. After all that, then we finally contact the teacher and arrange for me to come out and visit them in their classroom. And I have to tell you, last year when I came out and visited Mr. Kordick's classroom, I saw a couple of the very best lessons I've ever seen. And my background, I used to be vice chancellor of the Cal State University system in teacher education. I've seen a lot of classrooms. Two of the most exciting, interesting, student-involved lessons I've ever seen on topics that I learned a lot sitting in his classrooms. I was so impressed. Anyway, over the past 20 years, we have now about 90 winners of the Carlston Outstanding Teacher of America Award. You are indeed the exception of having 2 winners from your district, 2 from this school. Most California districts don't have any, so to have 2 is a very big deal. once we go through this whole selection process, out of the hundreds of nominations we get in a year, our board selects 4 or 5. This year it was 4. So there are only 4 winners in the state. The winners get $15,000. They get an additional $5,000, which I'm going to give Mr. Kordick tonight, to be spent at his school. And I always make a point of making sure the board and the school principal know that Mr. Kordick gets to decide how the $5,000 is spent at his school. We honor our winners at a banquet up in Mill Valley near San Francisco in November. We invite our winners, their families, all of our past honorees. We spend a day together in professional learning, and then we have our banquet. We also invite the student who nominated them. And at the banquet, the student makes the speech presenting the award, and that's when the teacher finds out who the student is. We keep it a secret from them the entire time. It's a real, you can see Melissa, who flew out to our banquet from Yale, which is where she goes to school now, former Valley Center student. During the year, our past winners also continue to participate with us as mentors for early career teachers and support providers for new colleagues in the field. And your teacher, Mr. Kordick, is already taking a leadership role by agreeing to be, at my request, he's going to serve on the new state ethnic studies curriculum study group from the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. I just have 2 more quick things. I brought along a copy of the file that I put together on Mr. Kordick, after talking to all his students and seeing him teach and everything else, that our board read to decide to give this award. I'm going to give it to Mr. Kordick so that he'll have it and he'll know what was said about him. But I encourage all of you who know him to make him let you read it, because it's quite impressive. It's an amazing file. I also want to tell you just a few of the things that were said in this file, and I know you have other students who want to talk about this great teacher, but just a few things. Students and his colleagues described him incredibly passionate about teaching, a force to be reckoned with. He believes in students in a way that helps them to believe in themselves. He truly made me understand the value of knowledge, learning, and curiosity. He's a beacon of light for kids. He has changed my life and the lives of many other kids for the better. He never let me give up on my future. Those are the kind of things that I heard from all of you about Mr. Kordick. And I know he's getting emotional, so I'll give him a second before I call on him. But I'll tell you, at our banquet, your former student, Melissa, who made his speech, and then Mr. Kordick, who made his acceptance speech, had the room in tears. An incredibly moving and heartfelt speech. We were all honored to be there. So, without much more, Drew.
So I don't have a speech prepared, but I do have some things to say. And the first thing I'd like to say is thank you to my former students who made this happen. Thank you to my current students who just inspire me unlike anything. Thank you to my colleagues. You're amazing. To my bosses, you're mostly awesome. And especially thank you to my wife, Rosanna, because none of this happens without her indulgence. So a few things I'd like to say. First, I go home most nights feeling like a failure. I go home and I think, I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve today. I could do better, and this, that, or the other way. And I think a lot of us in teaching share that feeling. So this moment is super special for me because it's a moment when former students say that to them, at least at some point in their story, I was the person I aspired to be. And there's no more fulfilling feeling than that, and I think everyone deserves that feeling at some point. The next thing I want to say involves Beverly's promise that I get to choose how to use this money. And there's an asterisk with that. So I'd actually like to talk to the board a little bit and invite you to something that we've been working on. So every Tuesday in this room, there's 70 to 90 kids who show up to engage in readings that are off the books. These are not board-approved readings. They're thought-provoking, life-changing books that allow history to guide students in aligning their views and their values. We don't have the money to pay for all of these kids' books. I would like to use this for some of those things, to provide more of those books. But first, I really would like your support in this. So please, please, when possible, join us on Tuesdays at lunch. The book we're working on right now is The Color of Law, which is a story really that helps students understand why the racial wealth gap is as it is right now. It's a story that, again, changes lives. Join us. Engage with us. See how our students' minds are on fire for these kinds of readings. 70 to 90 kids are doing this. So please, come and check it out. Allow us to get it approved. Maybe bring it into the classroom a little bit. After this book, we'll have 3 or 4 more on race, class, gender, climate, and migration. Please join us. You're welcome to join us anytime. Most of the magic that happens on this campus and so many others is really not in the classroom, which all of you are so good about joining us in. Most of the magic is in the interstices. It's in these little spaces in between where the real work happens. Please, 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 when possible, join us and see what our kids are up to, because it is so damn inspiring. Sorry, I'm rambling. I should have prepared a speech. I will end there. Thank you.
No, I'm done.
And I would just like to say on behalf of our board that we are so proud of our 2 teachers, educators, that not only teach with their mind, but with their heart. That's huge. That's the connection. The best compliment you can have is for your students. This award right here. How wonderful that you and Crystal have inspired these students to move forward in a very positive way. That is the best compliment you could get. And when we do walkthroughs, I've been in his room, and I have not wanted to leave sometimes. He's very engaging, excellent educator, and I'm very proud of him. I've known him since that's why he's Drew. But anyways, congratulations.
Say, board members, I brought y'all a coffee cup of our new organization, and I also brought you a program from our November banquet so you can see that what that event is like. Drew didn't bring it with him tonight, but he also has this ginormous award that goes on his wall. So stop by and see that too. Thank you.
Just a few last things on Drew before we let you guys go about the rest of your evening. I was fortunate enough to know Drew as a student way back and get to watch him grow as he went through high school. But then I don't know what year, about 2012 or so, I started getting these phone calls from this ex-student saying, "Hey, do you remember me? I used to be a wrestler." Well, I didn't remember him as a wrestler, but I did remember Drew. And he kept saying, do you have a job for me? And it wasn't until about 4 years later, and he'd always tell me, I'll be the best teacher you ever had. And about 4 years later, a job finally opened. I called him, and you've more than lived up to what you said you would do, Drew. And we're very proud of you. But I do want to read one other thing, because right about the time I found out you were getting this award, I also was sent a text from a parent, and Drew had shared this with a student after the grading period. So, Drew, I'm going to read one of your texts here. I'll make it all appropriate. And I won't name the student, but hi, student. Congratulations on earning an A in AP US History. You're a freaking star. Seriously, I appreciate everything you bring to our class. You have a special combination of brilliance, curiosity, humor, which I am convinced you will one day use to make the world a better place. Until then, I'm just glad you're using it to make my class a better place. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy a restful, book-filled break. And thanks a million for the book and the lovely inscription. And Drew, when I saw that, it stood out to me that's why you're getting this award. Because you go above and beyond making sure our students feel comfortable and well loved in your classroom. So as a friend, thank you very much, Drew.
Thank you.
Do you have a video? And to close this out, we do have one video of the student, I believe, one of the two students that nominated Mr. Kordick.
Hi, my name is Madeline. I think one of the things that I truly most about Mr. Kordick, not only as him as a teacher, but also just him as an individual, is definitely his ability to connect with students on a level that's significantly deeper than any other teacher I've ever met before. On a very personal level, he has the ability to give his students this sort of unshakable belief within themselves, myself included. Of course, I'm speaking from experience. But I remember back to my time with him and how I was very unsure of myself, my writing abilities, my ability to do well in his class, do well in AP tests. And he really just made sure I understood the internal strength I had and the internal capabilities I had. And I honestly think if he hadn't been there to help me when I needed it most, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, thank you, Mr. Kordick.
Yes. And at this time, if anyone
Hi,
would
my
like...
name is Madeline.
Am I interrupting? If anyone would like to stay, or who has come just for the presentation, you may leave this time. We move forward into our board meeting. You're welcome to stay, but at this time, we'll give you a few minutes if you would like to
It's very exciting.
move on. It's exciting. Hang on. Thank you all for coming, and congratulations to our three recipients. Okay, good. So I'll just ask if there's, and no one took yours.
No, you do. I think you just get to say that there's been no...
No, she said just, we'll say, have we received any?
Right, we'll say, no, you don't
Yeah,
have to read all
and,
that.
and then we move forward. Yeah, that's all I say is here.
This was good.
Okay, we're going to continue with our board meeting now. Thank you.
One's 20, the oldest, the youngest is 2. That's the troublemaker right there.
Moving forward to requests to address the board. Do we have any requests to address the board?
We have no address to the board tonight.
Okay, we will move forward into our consent agenda. And we had Board Member Mary Polito and Paul Benneman. There you go. Might want to move it in. Just push that button at the bottom, yeah.
Push.
There you go.
President Stroh. This month I was asked to review the purchase orders. I looked them over, everything met my satisfaction. Ron answered a question and that I had, and I move that we approve the consent agenda with the updated personnel list.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
Well, that was
That
a
is the motion.
Yeah, so a
That
second.
is the motion. Okay, do I have a second? That's what I meant. Yes, okay. And is there any just further discussion?
Nope.
With no further discussion, we'll call for the vote. Member Benneman?
Aye.
Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Kolb?
Aye.
Member Polito?
Aye.
And Member Stroh votes aye. We're going to move into our superintendent report.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the B, approval of minutes from the organization for December 15th.
Asking a question about the approval of the minutes for the December 15th meeting.
Okay.
Request a correction for my name at the very top. It says Alfonso Cope Senior.
Oh.
It says Alfonso Cope Senior,
Okay,
but the remaining rest of the pitch, it says Alfonso Cope.
okay.
So maybe for.
So that
for-
needs to be corrected.
Yeah, verbatim, it can be consistent all the way down.
Okay, we will note that. Thank you.
Nancy will
That's
take
it.
care of that.
Thank you. We'll take care of that. And now we'll move on to our superintendent division.
Yes, I think I gave a big enough report with our employees of the month and our excellent Carlston Foundation Award winner. So that is the report for the superintendent for this month.
Okay, and we'll move into the board. We will conduct our first reading of the following revised board policies and administrative regulations, starting with BP 3540, Business and Non-Instructional Operations, Transportation. Policy is updated to reflect the new law, AB 181, which authorizes the district to provide transportation services by the way of a joint powers agreement with the other programs. The district shall adopt a transportation plan describing the services to be provided to certain specific groups by April 1, 2023. BP 3460, Business and Non-Instructional Operations, Financial Reports and Accountability. Policy updated to reflect the predictors for fiscal distress as identified by FCMAT in its 2019 indicators of risk for potential insolvency. And AR 3460, Business and Non-Instructional Operations, Financial Report and Accountability, regulations updated to add a new section, Lease Accounting, to reflect GASB Statement 87. BP 5131.7, Students, Weapons, and Dangerous Instruments, policy updated to expand the concept of district-provided transportation and reflect a new law, SB 906, which places requirements on school employees and others regarding the threat protocols and reporting. AR 5131.7, Students, Weapons, and Dangerous Instruments, regulations updated to expand the list of prohibited weapons and dangerous instruments to include additional items that are listed in that law. BP 5142, student safety policy is updated to reflect the new law, P-.I-117-159, which requires the creation of a federal clearinghouse on school safety evidence-based practices. AR 5142, student safety regulations updated to reflect new law SB 906, which places requirements on school employees and others who are in contact with students on a regular basis to report perceived threats of homicidal acts to law enforcement. Adds additional language regarding staff responsibilities and training. BP 0450, philosophy, goals, objectives, and comprehensive plans, comprehensive safety plans. Policy is updated to clarify the language related to approval of the tactical response plan and add material regarding district requirements. These will be brought back to the board for a second reading at the February 9th meeting, at which time the board will consider them for approval. Our business division, moving into that, we will have presented by John Whitehouse of Christie White Incorporated, our annual audit report.
I will introduce Mr. John Whitehouse from
Yes.
Christie White. As you know, all school districts in the state are required to have an independent audit every year. So they audit our books, our finances, but also our attendance accounting, independent study contracts, our compliance with many different things according to the Ed Code. And in order to prepare for the audit, I just wanted to give a shout out and thanks to the many people in the finance office who work days and days on end providing the documents that are needed, led by our Director of Finance, Michael Aviles, and Julie Payton is also very much involved with the audit, along with Diane Faber and Lauren Holt, Mary Jensen, Gigi Skelton. We also have help from assistants in the district office and attendance clerks throughout the district and finance clerks. So it's a tremendous amount of work on the part of our staff to prepare the materials that our independent auditing firm needs. And speaking of which, we have Mr. John Whitehouse here, who is one of the accountants working on the audit for our district, and he's going to present to you. This is not an action item, it's just being brought to you so you can see that the audit's been performed, and you have a copy of the audit for your own perusal. And Mr. Whitehouse will take a little bit of a deeper dive into what that was all about.
Thank you, John. Again, I want to thank John and his team. They did it, as always, every year. They do an excellent job on providing everything that we need in a timely manner, and so we really appreciate that. I wish I could say the same about every district in the state that we audit, but it's they do an excellent job. So, so we've concluded our audit of the district's funds and capital assets, long-term debt, and compliance with federal and state law for the year ended June 30, 2022. Our audit is comprised of two phases. Our interim phase begins in the spring, and it's followed by our year-end phase in the fall. Our audit includes, but is not limited to, documenting and testing internal controls in areas such as purchasing, cash disbursements, payroll, cash receipts, and food service, testing state compliance areas such as attendance reporting, instructional time, admin teacher ratio, and the school accountability report card, to name a few. We also conducted a single audit over the federal programs and grants the district receives. The two major programs that we tested for this year was the Education Stabilization Fund discretionary grants, that is your ESSER funding and GEAR funding primarily, and that's like related to the CARES Act. And finally, we tested all June 30, 2022 balance sheet accounts such as cash, accounts receivable, accounts payable, capital assets, long-term debt, along with all revenues and expenditures across every fund. The results of our audit tests are reflected in the independent auditor's reports and summary of auditor's results. We opined on the financial statements as a whole, the report over state compliance, and the report on federal compliance, all of which were given unmodified opinions for the fiscal year. An unmodified opinion is the best opinion you can receive from an external audit firm. So it was an excellent job. There was no findings that were reportable for this year. And on page 78 of the report is a good summary of the auditor's results, which kind of outline the unmodified opinions for each, and will disclose there was no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies that were noted. Any questions about the report?
Great, sounds great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, John.
Thank you.
You get an
We're
award for that.
happy- No findings
So-
this year, so that's a good thing. So,
Awesome.
Very good. Thank you.
Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much. And next, we will move into the Educational Service Division and the presentation for our mathematics report, and that will be by Director of Curriculum Stephanie McIntyre and Tammy Streiler. Thank you.
Good evening, President Stroh, Superintendent McCowan, and members of the board and our colleagues. Tonight's our pleasure to present to you our Mindset Mathematics Cohort Project.
I'm going to go rogue for a second. We're really excited to be here, and what an exciting night to share out all the wonderful, teachers and all the great things we're doing in this district. And I wasn't expecting to cry so much tonight, and I promise I don't think I'm going to make you cry unless it's tears of happiness of what we're doing in mathematics. So we're really excited to share what we're working on. Okay, so next slide. All right. Throughout our work around mathematics, we always based it around research from the leading experts in the field, such as Joe Bowler, Dr. Nikki Newton, Graham Fletcher, Steve Wyberny, Dan Finkel, and John Sangiovanni, to name a few. From these leaders, we have learned new strategies for instruction to help our students grow in mathematics, and we have built professional relationships with the Stanford team. This is so exciting to be collaborating directly with Dr. Joe Bowler and Kathy Williams. We are also using the guidance from the revised California Math Framework, in which Joe Bowler, among other top math leaders, are the authors of. The framework is a guide on how to teach the standards have not changed, effectively in the classroom. The new revised framework highlights the most recent research in mathematics today. We are ahead of the game in this area, as the new framework is set to be adopted in 2023. The old framework was adopted in 2013. Next slide. Our adopted curriculum, Eureka, provides the foundation of our math instruction and meets the standards for math. It's our baseline. But we want our district to not just meet the baseline, but to engage students beyond the baseline by increasing engagement and develop a love for math. We know we have work to do around math, so this is something we have been integrating in the classrooms. As you see, one thing coming out of the collective body of research is the idea of teaching through the big ideas to show students how math is all connected. When teachers teach using big ideas, they're able to cover multiple standards at once, and students see the connections within math rather than isolated lessons. Teaching through big ideas is highlighted in the new proposed math framework. In order to use our curriculum and the idea of teaching through big ideas together, we have correlated the big ideas for each grade level, K through 8, using these books by Dr. Joe Bowler and Kathy Williams, to our Eureka curriculum. So that's an example up there of how we've taken the ideas from these books and correlated them with our adopted curriculum to help teachers weave in the lessons from the Mindset Mathematics books. The Mindset books are written, I had already said this, by Joe Bowler and Kathy Williams from Stanford.
Okay, so we'd like to take a moment now to share how our journey began. Go ahead, next slide. So we have a little timeline for you up here, but back in 2015, we began exploring resources from UCubed, which is a website created by Joe Bowler and her team from Stanford that supports teachers with the latest research as well as an abundance of lessons designed to inspire students to create a growth mindset. Sites began conducting number talks and participating in activities such as the Week of Inspirational Math. Both teachers and students found these activities engaging and began to talk about math in new ways. In 2017, we attended a training with Kathy Williams where we were introduced to the book Tammy just showed you, Mindset Math. These activities allowed the students to be creative with math, explore concepts. We brought these back to our sites, and our coaches and teachers began using those lessons. During this time, we continued to offer a variety of professional development options, ranging from IPD courses to district-wide professional learning days. Next slide. So here's just an example of one of the lessons coming out of the book. During this lesson, students were able to explore, think creatively on how to solve problems, and to share their thinking with their classmates. Because we saw how powerful these lessons were in the classroom, it inspired us to keep on the journey for our students and teachers. Next slide. As we moved into the 21-22 school year, we continued to use the big idea lessons and build upon growth mindset concepts. We wanted all students to see themselves as a math person. We purchased a mindset book for each teacher K through 5 and recently 6 through 8. We also started using this as a resource in our elementary summer school programs. Sites created math enrichment and intervention classes to support students' development of number sense, number flexibility, and relationships between numbers. In the spring of 2022, UCube published an article about correlating big ideas with adopted curriculum. Our team connected with Joe Bowler and shared the work that we had already done. They were very impressed, and from there, our collaboration with Joe Bowler, Kathy Williams, and the UCube team began. So, where are we now? Up until this point, we had been exploring the use of these lessons, teaching through big ideas. We wanted to create an opportunity for a more structured implementation so we could really look at the impact that teaching through big ideas has on student achievement. Our instructional coaching team created a Mindset Mathematics teacher cohort. We asked teachers to commit to teaching the big idea lessons correlated with each of the math modules. We created a Google Classroom where teachers can record their anecdotal notes, have access to resources, collect student work samples, and collaborate as a learning community. The cohort holds brief virtual check-in meetings to share their experiences and ask any questions they have. 24 volunteer teachers from all 4 elementary schools volunteered to participate in this new cohort. Next slide. As you can see here, this is an example from one school site, but each of our elementary school sites have purchased any of the manipulatives that would be necessary to present these lessons in the classrooms.
Okay, so the why. You can go to the next slide. Our goal through this project is to engage students in activities that allow them to think deeply and discover concepts through exploration and collaboration. The beauty of these low-floor, high-ceiling activities is that all students can access the content at their level. They challenge those that are ready for more, but are also accessible to students that are still developing the concept. It's so amazing to see the excitement the students have when the light bulb goes off and they want to share their thinking with their classmates. This is an example of a 3rd grade lesson. It's called Sharing Crackers. And you can see there are 6 standards being addressed in this one lesson. The students they have 36 tiles and they're discovering equal shares. So you can see in the pictures, the first student is, they stacked them up and they had the ruler. And then some kids were creating arrays and some were, putting them in line, just straight lines and just discovering on their own. And in this particular lesson, the kids were like, oh, well, 4 groups, there could be 4 groups with 9, and then there could be 9 groups with 4. Hey, that's the same thing, just turned around, and they learned the commutative property just by discovering within the lesson. And then you name it. Okay, that's called the commutative property. So you didn't need to teach a lesson on it. So they're discovering these things as they go in these lessons. They're really phenomenal, and it's really fun to watch the kids. So kind of going further in this school year, we have the cohort, but we are continuing the professional development for all of our teachers, not just the cohort. The cohort's got some specific things, but we are still reaching out through continue with classroom support through coaching, intervention, and continued professional development. So
okay, next slide. So here you can see a list of some of the professional development our team's been engaging in. Our instructional coaching team has had the opportunity to participate in some really wonderful learning experiences. In September, our team was invited by Joe Bowler and the team from Stanford to attend the Mathematics Leadership Summit they hosted with attendees from around the nation. We were asked to present on our district's journey around mathematics and the new mathematics cohort we developed. In November, our coaches attended the CMC conference. This was an opportunity for our team to learn from leaders in mathematics as well as to present once again on some of the work that we're doing in our district. Tammy and a fellow colleague from Irvine also took their presentation from CMC South to CMC North. In March, Tammy and I will be heading back up to Stanford to attend their summer camp program. Here our team will be given resources and be trained on how to bring the Stanford summer camp that they do there with their students here so we can bring it to our students. We'll get resources and training and it's going to be a really fabulous opportunity in addition to our summer school program. All of these opportunities have allowed us to continue to build and expand our network and with colleagues working in mathematics.
So here's a picture of our team at the Stanford Leadership Summit. We joined Joe Bowler and Kathy Williams for 2 days of professional learning focused on leading mindset and mathematics change in schools and districts. We engaged in content from the latest neuroscience and mathematics education research while meeting other professionals who are leading similar changes. Next slide. Here's our team at CMC South representing elementary and middle school coaches along with, again, Joe Bowler and Kathy Williams. You see a theme here. From Stanford, this conference promotes professional activities that ensures continual improvement towards excellence in the teaching of mathematics. We not only learned and engaged with top gurus in mathematics, but also from other teachers from all regions of California. To bring back the latest research and ideas to our district. This is exciting. So Joe Bowler, I mean, if you know who she is, you know. She's a guru, and she is the keynote speaker at these conferences, at both the CMC South and CMC North. So these rooms are filled. And those 2 slides are her slides that she notes the work that we are doing at Valley Center. So that was really cool. So we have pictures, you know.
Yeah, the pictures on the right are our students' work.
Yeah, and it calls out Valley Center-Pauma, and on the other side, so both of them, you know, this is huge. I just, oh gosh, it's so exciting. Oh gosh, okay, next slide. So attending these conferences allows us to share our learning with teachers to help grow our students in mathematics. These are some pictures from our last PD during our early release day in December. Here teachers are engaged in one of the domino strategies we brought back from the CMC conference. So the idea is, you know, we're going to these, but we're bringing everything back, and we are sharing with our teachers, right? And then in turn, teachers bring their learning to the students. So look what's happening in math around the district. So here students are engaged in hands-on activities with one another and are having fun. What a joy it is to see kids loving math and seeing themselves as a math person. Here are some more pictures of students engaging in some mindset mathematics lessons. Again, students are working together and then can see how other students are approaching the same task in different ways. Very powerful. And here are some more pictures highlighting students working together and enjoying math.
We also wanted to show you some ways in which students can show their creativity using math skills. Some examples of students creating art using math skills. And when we were at the Leadership Summit, we met a graduate from the Stanford program who she was conflicted. She had these math skills, but she also had this very creative side. Well, she has used her math skills. She designs her own jewelry and her clothing and the patterns on the material, all based on mathematical equations. It's really cool. So there's just so many different options, you know, and applications for math in life. And we want our students to see that there's beauty in math and that they can explore and that they can be creative. Next slide. So we were able to do this work with the support and mentorship of our educational partners consisting of our board, our administrators, and most importantly, our teachers, and our team of coaches. We're thankful for the collaborative partnerships with leaders such as Joe and Kathy as they work side by side with us on implementing this project. It's really been a collaborative effort, and we're excited to see the growth of our students, the excitement from teachers and students alike as they explore learning through big ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any comments or
Can
questions?
I want to say something. It's pretty cool. Like when you go to a conference, it's like the best of the best present. And we're like one of those that,
Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing, right? So yeah, thank you guys for doing all that. I do have a question. Is there like a time frame that all of this, say in 5 years, like all of our grades are doing all of this? Or is this just kind of a never ending, it just keeps progressing, or?
Well, it's kind of where we are right now. By creating this cohort, we are starting to analyze data, look at the effect. It's on a volunteer basis right now.
Oh, okay.
And then that way we can come back and say, is this working, is this not working, what are our next steps? And that's the beauty of having this collaboration with our team from Stanford, because it's not only us looking locally, but we have some experts in the field who are advising us and looking at data with us and advising on some of those steps.
And it is really starting bigger at the middle school now as well, that those books were just purchased there, and those teachers are starting to get involved, so we're, going to start seeing, hopefully, that progression. And what we didn't talk about, which is coming up too, is on March 15th, we're going to be doing a math night, really fun. We're trying something new this year, so hope you guys can check it out on March 15th.
Cool.
It sounds very exciting, and just what you explained about learning jewelry and how you make it so math is not just, it's, wow, exciting and useful and inspirational. And what Paul was saying too, because we know math has been a challenge, huge. Are you seeing that this can fill in the gaps or bring us up with, I'm sure, because it's statewide, with the math challenge?
Yeah, we're seeing when they're going through these lessons, the kids are successful with the concepts. They understand the way they talk about math, the way they're making the connections, like Tammy was saying with that community property. But again, we wanted to include the additional research that we're using because, this is an aspect of it, but we also, from all those trainings, the coaches are doing intervention lessons, enrichment lessons.
Every day in the classrooms.
And staff is on board, so we're.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
recently we held one at the middle school, and the math department voluntarily came after school to sit and learn about a bunch of different math routines to build number sense, the flexibility, and just understanding some of those basic concepts too to help with those foundational skills.
Wonderful. We're excited to see the results. Yeah.
So are we.
Good. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and we will move forward on to our dashboard presented by Assistant Superintendent Mark Aylward.
Thank you. Good evening, President Stroh, members of the board, Superintendent McCowan, district staff, parents, and any members of the community here. Tonight, I would like to provide you with a brief overview of the data reported on the California School Dashboard regarding our school districts. This data has some of this data that I'll be presenting. You have seen already, especially our state assessment data. But this will be the first time, as of right now, the California School Dashboard presents all of the data in one place to the public. The data that is listed on the California School Dashboard is based on measures and performance from the 2021-22 school year. So it's reflective of performance from last year. The dashboard is an online tool designed to help communities across the state access important information about kindergarten through grade 12 schools and districts. Due to the effects of the pandemic, the dashboard was suspended with very limited information presented. The 2022 dashboard that reflects last year's data that I'll be presenting today represents a restart of the California accountability system and establishes a new starting point for which all future improvements and performance will be measured. Prior to the pandemic, districts, schools, and student groups received performance colors on the dashboard that looked kind of like little charts that showed blue, green, yellow, orange, and red, where blue indicated the highest performance and red the lowest. These color performance levels also indicated progress or decline from the previous school year. And it's a little hard to see, but you can see them up there. It's the top box that shows those. I'm sure there's a fancy name for them. I don't know what it is, but kind of this chart of color. Temperature gauge, maybe. For the 2022 dashboard, the status levels are reflected of the performance achieved only during one school year. And the levels show very low to very high, without any measure of progress from the previous year. So that looks like the, I think they're called radio bars, or the little bar charts that you see in the bottom. The CDE guides us that the data presented should be used in conjunction with our own local data on student performance and progress. That would be things that are like progress reports, examples of student work, the experience of our teachers, feedback from parents. The combination of the state performance that I'll be showing and local district data provides the most appropriate picture of strengths as well as areas of opportunity and needed growth in our district. The dashboard addresses 6 state measures to allow for comparisons across schools and districts. The measures are of academic performance. That would be state assessments in English language arts and mathematics. Chronic absenteeism, which shows how many students were absent for 10% or more of the instructional days that they were enrolled. For most students, for a 180-day school year, that would be 18 days or more. The College and Career Readiness Measure shows how many students graduate from high school and the level of preparedness they have to move on to college and careers. The College and Career Readiness Measure is not reported on the 2022 dashboard, and the state is telling us that that will resume in 2023. Proficiency in English language is a major step for students to do well in all areas in our district, and that is indicated in the English Learner Progress Measure. It looks at the progress that English learner students are making towards English proficiency. Regardless of whether students go on to college, high school, a high school diploma is a minimum requirement for most entry-level jobs in today's economy. It represents mastery of foundational skills in mathematics, reading, writing, and completion of a course of study. The completion of state requirements is represented on the dashboard as the high school graduation rate measure. And I've received a lot of questions about high school graduation. And I think it is very important to know that the state is the one that says what is required, what are those foundational skills that a student must achieve in order to graduate from high school. And then our district actually has additional things that we ask that we feel are better representatives and better preparations for our students. So the graduation rate that you see is actually our district requirements for graduation. Lastly, the suspension rate measure shows the percentage of students who were suspended for at least one full day during the school year. Results are presented for all districts, schools, and defined student groups throughout the state of California for all of these state measures. Next, I'd like to take a look at our measures. As I said, this reflects data from the 21-22 school year when the educational system was recovering from a variety of challenges related to the COVID-19 pandemic. The data demonstrates the difficulties evident throughout the systems in terms of attendance, achievement, and engagement. And that is seen at all districts throughout the state of California. When looking at the academic performance you can see here of our school district on state measures, we see very low performance in English language arts and mathematics. This is something that as a district, we acknowledge that this is an area of improvement and focus. This year, to address the performance from last year, we are focused on using the scores that we have and local assessments results to provide teachers with valuable formative data about how to address individualized learning needs, provide intervention, targeted instruction in areas of English language arts, and even related to some of the mathematics work that you saw in the previous presentation. Teachers are engaging each other in the professional learning community process, or PLC, where they're engaging in cycles of improvement that are focused on our students with ongoing analysis and assessment to help guide their instruction. Using resources provided by the CDE, such as interim assessments, teachers are preparing students to answer questions in the style of the state assessments and see how standards being taught in our classrooms are connected to the way students are being presented with questions on those state assessments. An area of strength for our district is the high progress of English learners. 55.7% of our English learner students made progress towards English language proficiency last year. This is one of the highest in the county. This year, we are focusing on continuing that work with designated support, supplemental and designated supports for our English learners. Professional development continues in partnership with the county around meeting the English learner roadmap. Additional newcomer curriculum and supports have been added at the middle school and high school level. And our English learner master plan that was presented last month has been updated with clear reclassification criteria and listed efforts done by our staff. Next slide. Looking at the measures related to engagement and climate and conditions, our district, like most districts in the state of California, saw a very high number of students meeting the measure for chronic absenteeism. 41.3% of our students were considered chronically absent last year, based on missing at least 10% of that school year. Our district is not different from other districts in the state of California. Chronic absenteeism in our district was exacerbated by the pandemic, and we're still seeing those effects ongoing even into this school year. These results reflect a high degree of student absence that occurred that year, and we've been working to make sure we're communicating the importance of consistent attendance to our families. When possible, identifying root causes and quickly responding to attendance absenteeism patterns before they become chronic in nature. Through this work, the district is already on a path of improving results for this school year. Another positive for our district is the high performance in our graduation rate. Our graduation rate for the 21-22 school year was 94.6%. Again, this would be one of the higher in the county. We know that the pandemic impacted credit accumulation for many students. This has been a challenge in our district, but one that our staff at the secondary level has really embraced and has made sure that our students are meeting those graduation requirements. This year, we're continuing that focus, ensuring our high graduation rates continue while building on students' college and career readiness. The suspension rate measure for our district is high. 6.5% of our students were suspended last year. We are committed to keeping our students in the classroom where they can focus on learning. This year, to address that, we are focusing on shifting our approach to behavior to more restorative practices, and when appropriate, have implemented an alternative to suspension program where students receive targeted behavioral intervention and academic support in a classroom setting as opposed to being home for the day. Each of the schools in our district have reported data on many of the same measures as our school district. This provides an opportunity to look at the information on a smaller scale. Here you can see an overview of our school's performance, with some schools showing no information for measures that are not applicable, such as graduation rate at an elementary level. Or you may see data not presented, as some schools in our district have too few students for that data to be able to present it publicly, such as Oak Glen High School. The performance of each of our schools when combined makes up the performance of our district that I've already presented. So you can see a lot of the same levels of performance at our school sites do match our district. We see the schools in our district perform similarly in academic performance, with higher performance in language arts and mathematics at the elementary levels. In areas of engagement, climate, and conditions, we see a high suspension rate at the secondary level and at some of our elementary schools. Graduation is very high at Valley Center High School, and Oak Glen and Valley Center Prep, who serve some of the highest need students in our district, have continued to make a lot of progress towards increasing graduation rates. As is being reported throughout the state of California and comparable in our district, as I said, chronic absenteeism measured in grades K through 8 at all school sites was very high for the 21-22 school year. Next slide. Similar to looking at data by school sites, the California School Dashboard provides information and performance by student group. We see many of the same performance indicators as I have shown you for our district or at our school sites across student groups. Homeless students, students with disabilities, and Native American students are some students who do show either lower or higher performance depending on the indicator. An example of this would be suspension rates, where we do see a higher rate of suspension for those three student groups. And for each of those, the district approaches that we've been taken, such as restorative practices, will address those concerns. Many of the strategies and approaches that we've been taking as a district will be applied to the specific students groups listed here, with either staff or strategies focused on addressing those student groups' higher needs. So if you think of it as if we're addressing attendance at a school site, we may be doing additional work in attendance to address the needs of specific student groups. The local indicators measured on the next slide are self-reported items that are displayed based on self-reflection tools and climate surveys from the school year. The measures include credentialing of teachers, access to materials, conditions of facilities, how we're implementing standards, the surveys that we give both students and our families, and how we're communicating, and the course of study that's provided to our students. As I previously reported to the board, due to issues with reporting with the state, our district shows standard not met for the self-reported local indicators. In reality, our district has met all standards on local indicators, and this has been approved by the California Department of Education and reported in the process of adopting our LCAP. The correction has been shown in an additional narrative that has been posted on our website and is available on the dashboard. Information about the local indicators in this narrative goes through very specifics of how we did meet them, and the items include the self-assessment tools we used, the surveys that were put in place, and how each individual local indicator is measured and reported. On the last slide, VCPUSD's performance is low in many areas, so I'd just like to provide kind of an overview. We are committed to continually assessing our programs and systems to enhance the outcomes for all students in our district. The progress of our English learners and our high graduation rate that exceeds comparable state and county data is something to be very proud of. All other areas of concern where low performance may be seen, such as on state assessments, suspension rate, and other areas, are things that we are addressing this year. The performance of our district and its school sites establishes a new starting point against which future improvements can be gauged for schools and student groups. Our academic performance data shows that there are many students who need additional support to learn what is expected for their grade level, and the efforts that our staff are and will continue to take. Results show that we have work to do in order to make sure that all students in our district are being successful. We are taking those specific actions to address all areas of concern, with the focus, as I mentioned, on professional learning communities, providing support and additional intervention services to our students and families, developing strong relationships with our educational partners to make sure that as a community we're addressing all of these needs. These efforts will continue with our progress towards our goal of ensuring that all students receive high-quality instruction, leading to academic achievement and physical fitness, successfully preparing them for college and career readiness. All of the data I have reported this evening is publicly available on the California School Dashboard that is hosted by the California Department of Education. The report that our district has prepared is also publicly available with the narrative and explanation on our district website. Thank you for the time given to provide you this information, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Thank you for the report. Any comments or questions? And got the work ahead of us, but it sounds like we're headed in the right direction, along with many other schools. And with that, we will move into the annual review of our program of effectiveness and publication and posting of our school accountability report card. The SARCs to approve the posting these reports for the primary school, Valley Center Elementary School, Lilac School, Pauma School, Valley Center Middle School, Valley Center High School, Oak Glen High School, and Valley Center Prep. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
And seconded. Any discussion? With no discussion, we will move forward for the vote. Member Benjamin?
Aye.
Member Caputo? Aye. Member Kolb? Aye. Member Polito? Aye. And Member Stroh votes aye. Moving forward to advanced planning at this time, the next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, February 9th at 6 p.m. in the VCHS Media Center. And moving on to adjourning the meeting. Do I have a motion?
Also move.
Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Moving forward to the vote. Member Benjamin? Aye. Member Caputo? Aye. Member Kolb? Aye. Member Polito? Aye. And Member Stroh votes aye. And the meeting is at, 7:17? Dismissed. Adjourned. Thank you.